Hi, you guys. And again, this is Jewel Yoder. Welcome to Goshen College. I'm so excited to help you get started with your first class, Philosophies and Theories. This video is going to go over some of the basic things that you're going to need to know for week one. There's lots of material that I've put out there, hopefully not too much for you guys to wade through, but I just wanted to highlight some of the things that I want us to really think about here for week one. Week one is all about returning back to school. This unit was really designed to help you transition and kind of wrap your head around this new journey that you're taking. It can really be a challenge for us as working individuals. Perhaps you have a family that you're kind of responsible for. So you're working, you have your family demands, and now you're adding school. I've been there. I know you can do it. It just takes some work and some understanding on the part of your loved ones, and really just planning and preparing that you get the things done that you need to. Part of returning to school is that you are now expected once again to be writing academic papers. For many of you in your associate degree program, there may not have been a lot of paper writing that you did, or maybe it's just been some time since you've had to do something like that. So we're going to kind of do a little tutorial on going through a PowerPoint that I put together on how to go about writing in APA style. Again, this is something that we know is going to take you a bit of time to kind of understand, wrap your head around. Please take the time to read the comments that your professors are writing on your paper. That's the way that you get feedback. And again, making a mistake once or twice is fine. If it happens throughout all the papers that you write for 7 weeks, that gets a little discouraging for the professors that maybe you haven't really paid attention to the comments that we're giving back to you. So again, please read those comments. Those are really our way of communicating back to you what you did well in a paper, what we would like to see you do differently in the future, that sort of thing. Part of the liberal arts education that you are going to receive through Goshen College is really this idea that we give so much energy as nurses to caring for others, and there is such a tremendous kind of sense of burnout within our profession that every week we'll have some centering articles or poems or YouTube videos. It's really a time that's optional, but it won't take you very long just to sit quietly, watch the videos that I've posted, or read the poems either silently to yourself or out loud, and kind of think about what takeaway is there for you. Most of the poems and things that I've put really talk about how we, in giving care as nurses to others, are really showing God's love to the world. I know when we're stretched tight with our busy lives that sometimes we don't feel like maybe we're making enough time to have God be a part of our lives, but I feel like this is maybe a helpful reminder to us all that in the encounters we have at work with coworkers, physicians, and especially with our patients and their families, that this is really our opportunity to show God's love to them. So let's go ahead and get started here. There are a number of articles that I have posted in week one that would be just important things for you to kind of read and think about as you're getting started with school. One of the first articles that I posted is on paraphrasing and summarizing the work of others. A big thing in going back to school is that we're really looking for you to do your homework, read what other people have to say about a topic, but it's really your job as a student to kind of sit with these ideas of, what did I read in this textbook? Really mull that over, and then it's your job to paraphrase or summarize what your ideas are, what you're understanding somebody else to say. Again, that's not to say in academic writing that we can't quote what somebody else said, but if we quote them or if we use their idea in their context, then we run the risk of plagiarism. If you use somebody's idea, that's fine, but you have to give them credit. This was their idea, not your idea. So please take some time to look through that article on how you go about paraphrasing and summarizing the works of other people. Again, what we are looking for in this college program is for you to have read what other people are saying, and then we want to hear what your thoughts were on it. A lot of these papers are kind of your way of expressing your thoughts after having read what a number of other people had to say to you. I've also included a article in the first week's publication that's on teaching and learning styles. As an online learner, you have selected this modality to do your learning in. That is great. It puts a lot of pressure on you to use a bunch of resources, and the internet is such a great tool to help you do this, but to kind of be a little bit more self-guided in your learning rather than come to us in class and have us help formulate the discussion and those sort of things. That's sort of built into your forum posts and things that you'll do here online, and you really need to give that as much time and attention as you would have your face-to-face discussions if you were in class. That being said, when you're in class, we can get up, we can move around, we can do different activities as a group. I feel like as a teacher in a face-to-face class that it's in some ways easier to help adapt to various learning styles. Perhaps you're an auditory learner, and so me doing this little video today where we're going to go through some of the PowerPoints and it's kind of a pseudo lecture might help you to kind of hear and process what's being said. Maybe you're a very visual learner, and so you're somebody that, again, through visualizing me talking through these PowerPoints is going to be helpful to you. Perhaps you're somebody that really needs to read things, and just by reading things and taking notes, you can really absorb that. Many people are kinesthetic learners where you have to be up and moving. So that's the beautiful thing of online is you can pace yourself. If you need to take a little break, go to the kitchen, get a snack, maybe do a little bit of yoga or something like that. You have time to do those things, get up, move around, and come back and finish your schoolwork. So that is a nice thing with online that maybe in a classroom you feel a little awkward of getting up and stretching or moving around. So that's a plus for online learning. But I did post an article on teaching and learning styles, and you just need to be aware of what your learning style is, and as you move forward in this online modality, how are you going to use the tools that you need to help you learn in the most effective way possible. Another article that I really need you to read and think about is this article entitled The Return to School Syndrome. Now, it's really interesting, and right now we're at this super exciting point where you're taking on this new adventure, and hopefully you're excited about it. Maybe you're a little scared or a little nervous as to what the workload is going to be, but for the most part, when you take on something new, you're kind of in a honeymoon phase where everything feels like, oh, I'm just excited about this venture. And as with many things, be that perhaps a marriage or a new job, things wane over time a little bit as you kind of get settled into it. And so that's kind of what this article is saying. Is it similar to those sort of things? When you return to school, there will be a period of kind of disenchantment. And oftentimes that can happen about a year into this program where you've been hitting it hard and you're kind of just getting a little tired with doing everything. The beautiful thing is that when that happens, you are over halfway there. And so you just have to kind of push through, get that last term completed. And the last term is fun because it's community health activities, doing a leadership project in your place of work. It starts to feel like there's quite a bit more applicability than maybe listening or thinking about philosophies and theories. So just read the article, think through what it has to say, and kind of mentally prepare yourself that there may be some ups and downs as you go through this program, but that it's 18 months long. I know you can do it. You know you can do it. So just kind of help reset your mind when there's those times of feeling like, oh, I'm just really worn out by this. Now, that being said, I do know that there's family emergencies that happen, new babies that arrive, those sort of things. Please be in contact with me as the program director. If there's something really life-altering that happens to you and you're just saying, Jewel, I don't know that I should continue on right now. I have this big thing that I'm dealing with. I completely understand that. And we don't want to push you into something where you're not kind of mentally ready. I just caution you that starting and stopping a program kind of can become difficult and that you lose some of that momentum. Plus, you've built this peer group, even online, of people that you know and are supporting you. And it's great to kind of get through this program together as a group. So as much encouragement as you can offer to one another, if you start kind of feeling worn out with this, all the better. The last two things that I really want to mention for this week, one is really critical, and I feel like you're going to use this document for the rest of this class, and that is the document that is entitled Theorists, Definitions, and Descriptions. Basically, this is like a Cliff Notes or a cheat sheet version of a variety of different theorists. This class is going to have you be looking at the meta-paradigm of nursing. Meta-paradigm of nursing, I'm not going to give it away for you. You got to look this up and make sure you know it, but it has 4 elements to it. You may remember these from your associate program, or once you read them, you'll be like, oh, of course, that's what the meta-paradigm of nursing is. But again, what this has done for you has broken down Florence Nightingale, Jean Watson, Hildegard Peplau. It's picked some nursing theorists and it's had them kind of in little paragraphs give their concept of these 4 different elements. What you're asked to do throughout this class is to really think about these 4 elements that are such a critical part of the nursing paradigm. You're supposed to research what is it that other theorists had to say about these elements. And boy, I really liked what Jean Watson had to say about X, Y, and Z. I really think that that gels with kind of what my definition of nursing is. Again, theorists are just simply looking to define what is it that we as a profession are doing. So when I think of a theorist, I really think anybody could be a theorist, especially now that we have theorists that are really almost practice theorists. They're called mid-range theorists. But there's people that look at, I come from a NICU background, and so things like that always interest me. So there's theorists that write theories simply on what they have seen or witnessed with maternal-infant bonding. Now again, theories go a little bit deeper than that, but they need to have some ability to be replicated time and time again for them to be a theory, for this to be something that's really tried and true. But I encourage you to not think of theorists as being this kind of far out idea, but all of us as nurses kind of have our theory or our approach to what it is that we do as nurses, how we relate with the people that we're taking care of. So keep that in mind as you take this class, that I really feel any nurse could be a nursing theorist. But that form is a form that you are going to want to refer back to time and time again, because for each element you're going to be asked to identify a nurse theorist that you kind of feel like articulates what it is that you think that particular element is talking about. The last thing that I have included is an article called What is a Paradigm Shift? This first class, we are thinking about 3 kind of big major topics. What is a theory? What is a paradigm? And then what is the meta-paradigm of nursing? There's some overlap between these concepts. It can be a little hard to kind of delve into, so you can always do some research on the internet. There's cute little videos, there's pictures, there's all sorts of things out there to help you get in your mind kind of what the differences are between those 3 concepts and where they kind of intersect or overlap as well. But again, the paradigm shift thing helps me to kind of frame what is a paradigm. We talk about paradigm shifts all the time, so read that and see if that doesn't help you gather some understanding if you're having any difficulty. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I have a few PowerPoints that I want to go through with you. One is on APA style. Again, these are all posted in Moodle, so I don't know that I'm going to go through them like slide by slide, because you have them, you can refer back to them. But this is going to kind of serve a little bit as your in-class lecture for this week. So we have about 3 PowerPoints that we're going to go through. The APA one, we're going to go through a PowerPoint on what it means to be a profession. Nursing is a profession, and what does that entail? And then the last one is just kind of an overview, again, of that return to school syndrome article. So let me share some of these PowerPoints with you, and let's see if I can find it. Perfect. Let's do this as a slideshow. From the beginning. Perfect. All right, you guys. By week 2 already, I am going to have you start working on making a title page. All academic papers have a title page, then they have the content, and you always end with a reference. And so it's very quick that I'm having you jump in and start working on this, but again, you only have 7 weeks here to kind of be practicing and feel like you have some level of understanding before you get to your communications class. Now in communications class, they will continue to work with you on this, so it's not like you have to get this all completely figured out in 7 weeks, but try your best. Again, look at the corrections that we give you, make those corrections. In Moodle, I have put 2 different YouTube videos up, one for Google users, one for Word users, on how you go about formatting formal papers. Watch those again and again until you understand what you need to be doing. Again, you can contact myself, your professor. There's multiple resources here at the college that can help you gather basic information on how you go about formatting. So you start with a title page. In the upper right-hand corner, you are going to have a running head. And again, that's what you're seeing on those videos. There will be a running head and there will be a page number that you will put up there. In the center of your page, you're going to want to give me the rest of this information right here. I need your name on your paper, or excuse me, the name of your paper. So maybe this is response paper week 1. Maybe this is philosophy of nursing paper or issues paper. So whatever you've titled your paper, you need to put your own name, the name of the course. Again, for this first course, it's fine just to put N331. You do not have to write out philosophies and theories of nursing every single time. Your faculty member's name. So for this class, you're going to want to put Abigail Evans in there. I also want to know the date that you wrote this paper. Again, all of these things that I just talked about, aside from this running head that goes right here with your page number, your name, the name of the paper, all of this needs to be centered in the center of your page. Again, we talked about the importance of giving credit where credit is due. So if you are reproducing something word from a source, the book said this, you have to use quotation marks. You have to give who the author is, the year, and the page number. Otherwise, this is considered plagiarism. So here you see, Watson, in 2005, 6 assumptions related to human care include, and this is where we start quoting what Watson's 6 assumptions of human care are. Caring and loving are the most universal and the most tremendous and the most mysterious of cosmic forces. They comprise the primal and psychic energy. I got this from this page. So again, we've used our quotation marks, we've given the author, the year, and the page number. Using quotations when somebody really has articulated something very well and you feel like I cannot paraphrase this without kind of losing the meaning or the wording that she put with this or he put with this, then you use what they said. You just have to give them credit for that. In-text citations. So again, there are a number of ways that you can do this throughout the body of their paper. You can say something that starts with naming the author. According to Kearney Nunnery, that's your textbook, in 2016, health is a condition that we seek, promote, and hope to maintain, and then you add the page number. Or you can name the author in parentheses at the end of the quote. She stated, health is more than the absence of illness or infirmary. Kearney Nunnery, 2016, page 59. But she did not offer an explanation as to why. Again, we're quoting directly in both of these what the textbook said. It's just how we're putting in the reference. Again, you can see Mayman, Peretz, and Yancey on pages 354 and 358 for other examples of how you go about doing this within the body of your work. This is your reference resource book, and you'll want to be having this out with you as you're writing papers. If you have an organization that is your author, for example, they ANA, which again, you have 2 of their books. It is very possible, in fact, it's probable, or you should use the ANA as a reference for some of your papers throughout this first class. So again, this is 2 samples of how you would go about doing that. According to the American Nursing Association in 2003, nursing is defined by 6 distinct characteristics. Or you say nursing is defined by 6 distinct characteristics, American Nursing Association, comma, 2003. I want to take a minute to point out here that whether it's after a page number or after the ANA and the date, the period always goes after the parentheses. So you finish your sentence and you do not put a period at the end of the sentence. You finish your citation and the period goes at the end of the citation. Here is a thing called block quotations. Again, as I said, it is not wrong to quote what somebody is saying. However, if you are going to quote a quotation that has more than 40 words into it, you have to do this in a very specialized way of doing it. You would go ahead and you would indent, almost as if you're starting a new paragraph, and you are going to write the whole quotation indented 1 tab. So the whole thing looks like it's one big paragraph that you've indented the whole way over. There is no need for quotation marks. The fact that you've indented this whole thing serves as an indication that this is a block quote, that you are actually quoting this person because you've indented the whole quote. So again, if you're going to use a block quotation like this, you are going to want to use this system right here. It's not wrong to do, I just do not want more than like 1 of these per paper. Really, you're trying your best to, again, synthesize what somebody is saying, not quoting them word for word. But like I said, it's not wrong to do, I just don't want you to do it more than about once per paper. The other thing that I want to point out with this, and I just caught this as I'm recording this video for you guys, is here you see the period right here, and that's just kind of a no-no or a pet peeve of mine. So again, that period, and I'll change this PowerPoint, should be at the end of your citation here. When paraphrasing or referring to someone else's idea, you still want to provide the page or the paragraph number, kind of where you got this idea. So the American Nurses Association, they did not word for word say, nurses enter the nursing profession with the intent to help others. Nurses discover that helping involves 3 different types of categories or types of patients. I got this idea from the American Nursing Association, page 2008, or year 2008, page 4. So again, I'm not quoting this. This is not directly their words, but it is their idea that I'm kind of paraphrasing. So I need to still give them credit of kind of where I found that idea. It's just that I'm not quoting them at this point. You may end up using a lot of things that are indirect sources. This is not technically the best way of going about things in academics, but for this class, it tends to be the way we do things. You're not going to read necessarily a book by Jane Watson. You're going to be reading Kearney Nunnery, that's our textbook, and they're going to be citing the works of Jane Watson, or again, Hildegard Peplau, or any of the other nursing theorists. So it's not that you're going to necessarily be getting a book that was written by Betty Newman. So you're going to be using a lot of indirect sources, and that's fine to do for this class. So again, when you are referring to a source that you know only for reading another source. So again, you read Kearney Nunnery and you now know that Madeline Leininger's theory of cultural diversity and universality states that health is culturally defined and the individual expresses their roles in culturally defined roles. You would not have known this about Leininger had you not read Kearney Nunnery, and that's fine. So you just need to say, I got this idea from Kearney Nunnery. It's not that I read Madeline Leininger's book, The Theory of Culture, Care, and Diversity. You're not citing that book, you're citing Kearney Nunnery. Use of numbers. Again, this is crazy. APA has rules for everything, but it will come easier as you kind of immerse yourself in this. So here's the general rule to follow. If you have numbers that are below 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you are to spell these numbers out. So any number that is less than 10, you should take the time to actually spell out. Once you get to 10, 11, or 12, then it is fine to put them down as numerals. So less than 10, spell them out. Greater than 10, you're going to be able to use them as numbers. Again, a lot of times we are now finding online documentations, and so they will have this DOI number, and here is just an example of if you find an article that has a DOI, then you do not have to use the website that you found them or the retrieval date. You can just use this kind of documentation. So you use a retrieval date only when the item lacks a publication date. So this is a little tricky. This is getting into the weeds a little bit, but this is more just to show you how you use that DOI. So if I found something and maybe it was from the Journal of Medicine and for whatever reason there was no date, I couldn't figure out when it was publicated, that's fine. All I'm going to do is I went to www.journalofmedicine.com on August the 9th, 2017 to retrieve this item. So that's saying where I went and when I went to get that item. So that's a retrieval date and using the URL or the website to get that. But again, this is saying that sometimes documents have this DOI code, and so you can just quote the book or article and the DOI. Yay, we're getting to the end here. Good job hanging in there with me on APA. It's not the most exciting thing. But the last thing that you need to know for a paper is this reference page. When you have cited all this great body of work, you need to include a reference page. This is what the professor goes to say, did they do the 4 to 6 references I wanted? Do these look like they are actually academic references? So this is where I get on my soapbox a little bit and say Wikipedia, those sort of things are not academic quality places that you're going to want to be quoting. You can use things that you got off of, say, YouTube videos, that sort of thing. You can quote those, but just know those don't really count as an academic source helping to inform your work. You are going to do some library modules. Hopefully you did 2 of them already in your orientation module section to help you get prepared on how to use the library. Because by next week, you are going to be getting into the Goshen College Library and actually looking for articles that you will be using in your issues paper. So in course 1, you pick an issue near and dear to nursing. So again, look in the syllabus. I've given you some ideas of what different issues papers are that you can use. Pick an issue. You are going to go to Our Good Library. You're going to go into CINAHL. That is the nursing database that I want you to use, and you're going to play around until you find, about 5 articles that would be on your issue, and you're going to be working with those. So again, here quickly, it would not hurt for you to start playing with the library, making sure you can get to CINAHL, and most importantly, thinking about what issue you want to do your work on. But getting back to the reference paper. The reference page, you need to put the title, reference, right here, reference, center on the top of that page, and then you need to arrange your references in alphabetical order. So each reference should make use of a hanging indent. What does this mean? If your reference is long enough that it takes up more than 1 line, and again, as you saw, most of them can be 2 or 3 lines long, the first part of your let's say we are doing Mayman, Parrots, and Yancey, a writer's reference, the 5th edition. So the word Mayman is going to be right at the edge of your paper. You're not going to indent that. You're just going to start writing that. If it spills onto the 2nd line, you need to hit the space bar. you need to start a second line, but you have to indent that second line. So the first line is just even with the edge of your paper. There's no indentation. If it spills onto a second line, you need to oftentimes put a space there and indent. So it looks like it's kind of hanging below the previous line. That is what a hanging indent is. Again, you can see Mayman, Paris, and Yancey on page 358 for some examples of this. Everything that you cite within the text must be listed on your reference page. So again, if you have cited this, it has to be there on your reference page. This is your accumulation of everything you used to write this paper. Here's examples of a reference page, and it shows that little hanging indent. So here, more than likely you would use Kearney Nunnery. So here, you can cheat, use that. One of the books that we will have part of it posted for you guys is Bonnie Weserick writes this book. And then here is the American Nursing Association Code of Ethics. So again, we've given you a few that you might be using in this class. Again, make sure you've got the right year of the book that you're using. I think we use a newer edition than 2001. So be careful if you copy and paste this, that you have the correct edition there. Again, you can get the American Psychology Association publication manual if you feel like that would be helpful as a tool. We do not require it. You are to get this book that's a handwriting tool, and of course you can use Purdue OWL website to help you with this as well. So that is getting you through the APA tutorial. Like I said, we've got 2 more that we're going to power through here, so bear with me a little bit longer. We're going to do a few more PowerPoints. Let's see if I can share my screen with you once again. We're going to do characteristics of a profession next. Again, feel free to pause me at any point if you need to get a snack, that sort of thing. I completely understand. Get me one too. Okay, so as I said earlier, nursing is a profession, and we need to think about what it is, what characteristics of a profession that help set us apart. There are these 5 components that are unique to people that are in a profession: the teaching profession, the nursing profession, the medical profession. We have a base of theory and knowledge that we operate from. We went and we took all those nursing classes so that we could get knowledge and theory on how we do things and why we do things. We have authority given to us in that we take a formalized test to become licensed to give the care that we give. So there is some authority with that. However, along with authority and being part of a licensed community is that we have community sanctions. As a licensed nurse, you cannot practice the profession of nursing while impaired, for example. If you are caught doing something like that, then the community of nursing or the board of nursing, we as a community are going to impose sanctions on what you are doing. As a profession, we also have a written code of ethics that helps guide the care that we give. And so that is unique to any sort of profession. And then we have our professional culture of how we work to get CEUs or have professional meetings or integrate people into our profession, of helping get them onboarded, all kind of the professional norms that we follow as nurses. Again, our nursing profession is based on theory. We're going to go through a number of those in this course. And as I mentioned before, we have grand theorists, we have mid-range theorists, and then we have, as I even mentioned, situation-specific theorists. There's this idea of what is a theory, what is a paradigm. A paradigm is how the world is seen, beliefs that are shared within a community. And then we're going to skip through because here's that nursing meta paradigm. Getting to this idea of authority, again, that's awarded to us by our patients that we know what we're doing and that they trust us. We have further education, practice, and skills to help make a judgment on what we're seeing our patient experience, what we should do to intervene, those sort of things. And then this is Patricia Benner's kind of theory right here of how we have different levels of expertise, from the novice to the expert, as we advance through our nursing career. Again, we have a social contract with the community that we are going to be safe in the care that we give, that we are going to practice within the rules and regulations of the institution that we work for. We have rules, statutes, and so on that we need to follow. The Nurse Practice Act of the state in which you work. The ANA and other organizations help develop scopes and standards of practice for us. There's certifications for being a NICU nurse, OB nurse, surgery nurse, I mean, you name it, and you can get a certification in your specialty area. We also follow the Code of Ethics. It's not negotiable, and here are some of the things that are a part of the Code of Ethics. You will be well versed with this by the time you are done, but I want to point out part of what you're going to get in your Goshen College experience is really a focus on how do we go about protecting human rights, promoting health, and reducing healthcare disparities. We really want to be thinking about how do we make sure that there is social justice to be had for everybody that seeks healthcare. Professional culture. Again, we have formal and informal groups. We might have educational programs, continuing ed, organizations that are specific for your type of acute care nursing. And then there's these informal groups. Maybe this is a journal club or something like that that you're a part of. So again, we have our educational background that sets us apart from others. We adhere to the Code of Ethics. We are to participate in professional organizations, continue to embrace furthering our education and competency, which you guys are all doing starting right now by being in this class. We are to work on clearly communicating and publicating the work that we do to further our nursing profession. We have autonomy and self-regulation. We are to be of service to our community. We are to use, develop, and evaluate theories, and then to build research. What is a philosophy of nursing? A personal philosophy of nursing presents the belief system or worldview of nursing for a professional nurse. Incorporated into the philosophy are definitions of what you value, assumptions that you make about the different meta-paradigm concepts. So, you're not going to have a chance to speak with somebody near you, but you are going to work on, during this class, on what your professional philosophy is of nursing. You could talk with some of your coworkers about this to start getting them to think about this as well, and maybe that'll help get some of your creative juices flowing as well. All right. And one last PowerPoint for us to get through here. And that one, like I said, is on the return to school syndrome. So, avoiding panic and navigating the new terrain. So you're back to school. What do you need to do next to be successful? It's important for you to kind of articulate what it is that you're hopeful for, what fears do you have in returning to school, what changes in your life are you going to need to make to be successful as a student? Are you going to have to convert your spare bedroom into an office? Are you going to have to go to the library? Are you going to have to do your studies once your children are asleep for the day? How will you balance all these different roles that you have to play? Who is supporting you in your choice to pursue this degree? Does your manager know that you're doing this? Do friends at work know? I would assume your family knows. How are they going to pitch in? Maybe every Thursday night is pizza night so that mom doesn't have to cook or dad doesn't have to cook, and we can have a little bit of free time to get schoolwork done. Who's maybe not supportive? Are there people that might resent the time or energy that you're having to put into this? Again, for those people, reassuring them that this is not a terribly long endeavor and that you will be back to them having been really proud of yourself for earning this degree may help with some of that. Or if it's a coworker, invite them along in the journey. They could always go back to school as well. Think about what 4 concrete things you can do to be successful in this program. As I said, there's a honeymoon phase that we're all in right now where we're satisfied to be back here. We're glad to be taking steps towards meeting our end goal. And then at some point along the way, there starts to be this conflict of, boy, things that I'm learning are really making me question how I've always been a nurse. That's okay to think about the way you did things and to push yourself that, oh, maybe I should take more time for the families than what I have been doing, or this or that. Again, it could create a little bit of conflict within yourself. Maybe you start questioning, is it worth all this work and energy to get this bachelor's degree? Maybe you start feeling angry or depressed or exhausted. Again, that's when it's worth reaching out to either somebody in the class, myself, a spouse, a coworker, somebody that's really your support system that can kind of help booster you up and say, hey, this is worth it. You're going to be really happy at the end when you've gotten this degree. Keep going, be your cheerleading section. And hopefully at some point you're able to kind of reintegrate where you kind of refocus on what you're doing. You're able to function in school and work. You're recognizing that you're growing and kind of learning new things, and rather than being resistant to that, you're kind of open to that. You're able to kind of mesh the old and the new together. If you're unable to completely reintegrate, perhaps you just are going through the motions. You're doing it because you want to get to the end, but you're not super excited about it. Or you actually are hostile of, I don't want to be doing this. I'm angry about this. These are 2 things that can kind of tend to lead towards students that drop out. If you are feeling these things, again, I encourage you to talk to me about it. Maybe I can help kind of remind you of this, or we can talk through, is there something that I can really do for you that kind of removes some kind of barrier, just knowing that I'm here to be a support to you. So again, if you feel like you're going through the motions or you're really just feeling angry about something, it's maybe time to kind of stop, think about what's going on, and reach out to someone. Lastly, here are some of the articles that we use to help inform us on this. All right, you guys, so thank you so much in bearing with me as we get through this first week here. Again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Abigail and she can help provide further clarity. This is just a video that I've put together to kind of be an overview of what this week is and getting back to school. Like I said, start thinking about next week because you're going to want to have that issue identified and you want to start tackling the library and getting your lit review work done. That's it for now, and I will see you next week with a little tutorial video again. Thanks. Bye.